Teufel drink from your skull!
Before we really get into the review, let me tell you a story about a time I was ambushed by sea raiders. They were everywhere. They surrounded me. I had them outnumbered 2-1, but I still think they surrounded me. Before the battle, I went to a nearby village and recruited all the peasants I could find. They weren't the best soldiers, but they tried. The sea raiders came with a roar, smashing their shields and hurling their axes. I shouted to my men as I fired my bow. I stepped back as my men fell. Is this the end of the wandering wizard? I grabbed my axe and I fought like a warrior poet. O war gods, hear my cry. This is how heroes die. Hey there YouTube, welcome to Caladria, the world of Mount and Blade Warband, and welcome to Wandering Wizard's Review and Beginner's Guide. The world of Caladria is divided into 6 factions vying for dominance. In the game, you personally control your own character and are in charge of a single warband. You move your warband around the campaign map, and then whenever you enter a settlement or fight a battle, you take control of your personal character while issuing orders for the other soldiers in your warband.
The gods will decide your fate!
Your personal character builds stats by leveling up. There are certain traits that make your character a better fighter, and other traits that make your character a better battlefield commander. The system is intuitive, and so instead of a full explanation, I'll give you a few suggestions. You level up mostly by killing enemies in battle with your own character. Therefore, I would recommend starting by putting some points in a power draw so you can use a bow because it's often easiest to get multiple bow kills. You also need to put some points in strength because that allows you to wear the heavy armor you will need to survive battles. Once your character is strong enough to survive battles and get kills, I would then put most of your points towards leadership, which allows you to command more troops. Having a couple points in prison management can also be a good idea because that allows you to capture enemies and sell them for profit. Next I will talk about companions. Companions are a type of hero character which serve with your warband. Companions level up and gain stats in exactly the same way your character does. You can find companions in taverns. Companions are also very useful because you can also use some of their traits to help your entire army. Some traits are considered party skill traits because you can use the value that is highest from among you and your companions. I would suggest having at least one companion specializing in the surgery, first aid, and wound treatment traits. These party skill traits help your soldiers survive wounds in battle and recover faster. I would also recommend having a different companion specializing in pathfinding, spotting, and tracking, since those traits allow your warband to move faster, see farther, and track enemies better on the campaign map. Be aware that some companions don't like each other and will refuse to serve in the same warband together. There are charts online that will let you know which companion is the higher, so that you will be able to have as many companions as possible. In addition to gathering companions and leveling up your own character and companion characters, you will need to recruit regular troops. Watch as I lead a mounted force against an enemy army. On the battlefield, you command your own character and issue commands to your troops. For the most part, battlefield strategy in the game comes down to keeping your troops together and having them attack together. In Warband, there's a massive difference between a tier 1 unit and a top tier unit. You saw my tier 1 peasant troops get torn to pieces in the intro. In this game, mounted troops are king. They are overpowered in the sense that you don't really need any other troop type. On the bottom of the screen here, any green text you see means that my soldier killed an enemy. Any red text means that an enemy soldier killed one of mine. As you can see, my top level mounted troops are dominating. To get strong soldiers, you can recruit peasant troops from villages and upgrade them as they gain experience from battle. You can recruit slightly better but more expensive troops from taverns. There is also a character trait that allows you to give experience to troops so you can upgrade them as well. Now that you know how to build your warband and fight with it, you need to know how you'll pay for it. You have 3 main sources of income. Your first source of income will usually be from winning battles and selling captured loot and prisoners. If you get enough money, you can purchase businesses which are called productive enterprises in the game. These enterprises give you a steady source of income, which you can use to maintain your warband. There are 3 basic settlements on the map: villages, castles, and towns. Villages are useful for gaining recruits. Castles are mostly for defense and for controlling villages. The towns contain most of your useful buildings like taverns, shops, and productive enterprises. You can own 1 productive enterprise in each town. It is also possible to make money through trade, buying low and selling high, but you might find it tedious. Warband also has a quest system, which can be fun and a good source of money when you're starting a new game. On the campaign map, there are many computer lords patrolling around, each in command of their own warband. If you speak with them, you can ask them if they have any quests for you. Here, Boyar Druli is offering me a 300 gold bounty for a murderer. I was told the man is hiding in Vezin. Warband doesn't have a set objective for you, but most players, I think, want to be king. It might be a good idea to begin by swearing your allegiance to another kingdom. If a king allows you to fight for him, he might be willing to grant you a village, castle, or town, and you'll be able to rule as a lord in his service. Eventually, you can decide to betray your king and leave his service. Be aware though that if you renounce your allegiance to your king, the king will take back all the settlements that he has given to you. The only exception is if you capture a settlement by yourself and ask the king to give it to you, and he doesn't, you'll be able to choose to rebel and keep all of your land. That's one way to become a king or queen. The other way to become a king or queen is to simply attack a castle or a town, capture it, and declare yourself a king or queen. That's fairly hard to do, but very possible if you build up your strength and look for the right moment. On the screen now, you can see King Ragnar refusing to allow me into his service. There are a couple other values we need to look at. Renown comes from winning battles. Renown allows you to command more troops. You also need a high enough renown value to enter into a king's service. Honor becomes extremely valuable when you become a ruler and expect other lords to serve you. There's another value called right to rule, which you can get from companion missions. It makes it easier to get other lords to support you, and it makes it easier to sign treaties with other kings. The screen you are seeing right now is from a mod. Mount and Blade Warband is a game where there's really not much point in playing the base game. There are a number of mods that add useful features that don't fundamentally alter the game mechanics. I'll include my mod recommendations in the description. In this game I am already king, and since I have a high honor rating, all of the honorable lords want to follow me. Again, this is the modded game. You see here that my warband is being followed by 3 of my loyal lords who will help me take this town. Castles and towns are hard to capture. Often you'll need to make multiple assaults and take heavy losses. Here though, with the help of my lords, I outnumber the enemy more than 3 to 1 and will be able to storm right in. Here you can see a siege battle. I'm sending my men up the ladders and over the walls as I hang back and make sure I don't get killed. Since I'm king, now my soldiers and my lords do the getting killed for me. As you watch this battle play out, you'll see the evidence of how useful having loyal lords to follow you into battle can be. Let me explain why having a high honor rating and why trying to win over honorable lords is the way to go if you want to be king. When you are a ruler and you give a settlement to one of your lords, it makes all of your other lords unhappy with you. The result is that normally you would only be able to have about 5 or 6 lords, because if you had more, they would start to hate you. Lords who hate you won't follow you into battle, and will eventually defect and join another king. The exception is that some lords have an honorable nature, and they don't care if you give land to another lord. If your honor rating is high, the honorable lords will love you without you having to do anything. Now, honorable lords will never betray their kings to come and serve you, but whenever any kingdom is entirely defeated, all of the lords in that kingdom will then have to go somewhere. If your honor rating is high, the honorable lords will come to you. As you watch my men crush my enemies, I'll close this review and give you my final assessment of the game. I have over 500 hours on this game in Steam, which is my 3rd most played game. There's something very compelling about the story arc in this game. The journey from being a lone adventurer to being the most powerful king in the land. The strategy elements in this game are not as complex as in many other titles, but they're deep enough to immerse you and make you feel like you're in the role of the adventurer, or the mercenary captain, or the king making strategic decisions to help you defeat your enemies and pursue your goals. The graphics are still beautiful even though the game is older now. The big downside of the game is that it can be a big grind. You might find yourself early in the game fighting Sea Raider Warband after Sea Raider Warband, just to level up and earn enough money to progress to something else. After you defeat enemy lords in battle, they are back in business with a new warband almost immediately. There are too many small battles in the game that are just a repeat of the last battle, and that don't really result in much. As I said though, you should use mods in this game. The Tweak MB mod allows you to make many of your own changes to the game, many of which can reduce this grind. My favorite tweak is to increase the chances of capturing enemy lords in battle after you defeat them, so that at least after a major victory, it will be a while before you have to fight them again. All in all, this is one of my favorite games. If you haven't given it a try, you should. If you own this game, hopefully this video was useful. Make sure to also check out the description for some useful resources. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm very happy to answer any additional questions you may have in the comments.